Hi, I'm Allie Dosdell for We Are Memory Keepers, and today I'm going to show you how to create a window gift box using the 1-2-3 punch board. This punch board is awesome. It's really an essential for any crafter. You can make literally hundreds of projects with it, from envelopes to bows to boxes and lots more. I love that if you open the arm here, you've got the basic measurements for a box, bow, and envelope right here. That's easy to use. You also can store your score tool right inside there, so you don't have to worry about losing it. And it's got this arm that extends out for longer score lines, and that's really handy. In addition to the instructions on here, we've got a handy instruction guide that gives more detailed instructions with pictures, and it also shows you lots of other project ideas like mini file folders and 3D envelopes, and there's just a ton of ideas in here. So we're going to go ahead and make this gift box, and let's open up the board, and we're going to look here at the 4x4x4 size. That's what we're going to make today. So that tells me we need a 12-inch square piece of paper. So I've got my paper right here, and this is actually solid core cardstock from American Crafts, and that's my favorite cardstock to work with when I'm doing boxes or bags or envelopes that need to be folded and creased, because it just has a really neat, clean look to it. So back to the board, if we look over here, it tells us that we need to line up the paper at the extra large start line on the board, which is right here. And then it also tells us that we need to use the extra large diagonal scoring line, which is right here. So that makes it really easy. We've got the same color lines and they're all extra large, so that's what we're working with. So let me pull out my score tool and extend the arm, so we're ready to go. And now we're going to start by just lining up the edge of this at the extra large start line. We're going to punch, and then we're going to score the A score line for boxes and the B score line for boxes, which is this first one right here. And we're going to pull that all the way down to the end there. Then we'll just rotate, except first we're going to do the diagonal line, which is this extra large one right here. So we'll just pull that down. We don't want to forget that one because that's what helps us fold our box up. So now we rotate, go back to the extra large start line, punch, score A, and then score B, and diagonal. And you'll kind of start to see the shape of the box, how that's going to work once we finish scoring and punching. And then diagonal. And we're going to just stop that diagonal line right here at this crease. That's as far as we need to go. So we'll move that around again. Punch and score. Great. So now what we'll do is we're going to flip the paper upside down, and all we need to do now is just punch 4 times, lining it up at the extra large line again. And one more. All right. So now another awesome feature on the punch boards is that there's always a reverse punch at the top of the board for finishing your project off. So in this case, when I make boxes, I like to notch one set of opposite corners. So I'm going to use the slit punch for this one and this one. And then I'm going to go over to the other side and just round these corners off so the box has a nice finished look. Okay, now we are ready to start folding up the score lines. Scoop the trash out of the way. Just going to make sure that those have a nice crease in them. So that it's easy to assemble. Okay, and before I go and do these creases here, I'm going to select one of the squares where the slits are. Okay, so I can either do this side or this side. I'm just going to work with this side. This is where my window is going to go. Now, I could use this in the Evolution Advanced. I could probably fold these up and squeeze it in there and put my die in, but I want to try to keep my score lines and my creases as fresh as possible. So let me show you a different way that you can die cut a shape out of your box. I'm going to use this die from the Gem Dies collection, and I am going to just place it down in this square right here and center it on the sides, and I'm going to kind of place it more towards the top so that it's easier to see the window, and I don't want it too close to the bottom. So then I'm just going to take some handy washi tape. I love this stuff. I use it for tons of things. It's really handy. And I'm going to just place this tape inside the die. Don't want it to extend over since I'm going to be cutting there. And make sure to press down so that it adheres to the paper there. And that's going to hold that in place. Then I'm going to use my art knife. And I've got my trifold cutting mat. This is a self-healing mat, and that's what I prefer to use when I'm using a craft knife or an art knife and I'm cutting on the mat. So we're going to go ahead and just use the edges of the die as kind of a template. And I don't worry using a metal die about cutting anything on the die since it's metal, and it'll also just give me really nice straight edges that way. Now there are all kinds of different shaped dies that you could use. For a window, you could use circles, you could use squares, hearts, butterflies, flowers, whatever you think would match best with the type of project that you're doing. So I'm just going to finish off a few little spots there and there. And then I can just pull that right clean out. Okay, now obviously we don't want our goodies inside the box to fall out the window. So we're going to cover it up with some acetate paper. This is the Clearly Posh collection, and this is acetate paper that's got foil accents. If you look over here, you can see that the foil accents come in gold, black, and silver, and you've got 4 different prints to work with. It also comes with beautiful ephemera bits and other embellishments. So it's really a lot of fun to work with this particular acetate, and the texture and the shine is just so much fun. So we're going to put some adhesive. If I can find the end. Okay, there we go. We're going to put some adhesive around the die cut shape so that that acetate paper lays flat against that window right there and doesn't leave us too much of a space. Okay, like we need one more piece around the die cut. That way you don't have any of your items inside your box sliding through the window there. And then we'll place a few more down in the bottom corners so that it stays nice and secure. Okay, I think that's going to hold it well. And it doesn't really matter if you use a clear adhesive or an opaque adhesive down here, because you're not going to see this part of the box once it's all assembled. But you do want to have a nice strong adhesive down here for sure, because depending on the weight of the items that you put in your box, you just want to make sure that your folds and your the closure of your box is nice and strong. Okay, so we'll place that on. Now we're ready to finish up the box. We're going to first crease these sides because that just helps make it easy as you assemble it. Crease those first. Okay, now we're going to use some more double-sided adhesive to attach these sides. And the way I like to do this, I like to move them out of the way so that you can see the item in through the window in the box. So I like to put them on this opposite side and then on these two sides. So I'll put the two back ones here, and then I'll put the side ones on the sides. So we'll need a piece there, and then a piece here to, so you can see that, to keep them from popping open. Okay, same thing on this side. I'll put a piece here. Move that so you can see. And then we'll put a piece inside the fold. And again, I'm using the American Crafts red double-sided tape. That stuff is really super strong, but you could use a glue gun, would work great as well. So we're going against the side there. And then we're going to kind of slide this under here gently. And line those up. And then press to stick it down. All right, the last one. Last one is a little bit more tricky because most of the box is already assembled. So you just reach in, put it on that side. And I'm going to apply the last piece before I fold up the box. Okay, we'll need one more piece since I put that piece in the wrong place. So don't do that. You're going to want to put it in this fold right here. Right next to the edge so that it stays nice and tight. Now, if you're making a box that doesn't have a window, you may not necessarily need to use so much adhesive when you're putting the box together. You can just fold it right up. But since we've got a window, we want it to look nice and neat inside there and keep that stuck together. Okay, so let me just press and make sure we've got good, strong adhesion on all sides. Once you've got your box all taped up, this is when you put your goodies inside. And then you're going to fold the flaps that have no slit down first. And I like to do that so that I have a little room to maneuver the box when I go to put the slits together on the top. So we're going to kind of move it a little bit diagonally. And we just need to kind of slide those together. And there you go. So what I've done here is I've added on a little glitter gold bow that I created with the 1, 2, 3 punch board. And then I've also added a tag that's from the ephemera kit from the Clearly Posh collection. So before I put my bow on, I'm going to tie this ribbon on to the bow. Let me scoot this box out of the way for a moment. And just tie that around in the center with some baker's twine. You can use whatever you'd like here. You can tape it on or glue it on, however you'd like to attach that. So I've already put some foam squares on the back of my bow. That's what I like to use for bows on these boxes because it gives it a little more dimension, a little pop. Okay, and then we're going to place the bow so that the tag hangs toward the front. And just center that and just give it a little push down and that'll attach right to your box. So that's a fun gift box you can use for any occasion, and it's super easy to make these window gift boxes with the 1, 2, 3 punch board. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Allie Dosdell for We Are Memory Keepers.